Hey everyone, welcome to another video. It's been a while since I've done a video and I've been meaning to talk about Tears of the Kingdom for a while, but I just wanted to get to a specific point in the game before I did that. Now do not worry, there's gonna be no story related spoilers, no endgame stuff. I've only done 2 temples in the game. I'm not even halfway through the game, we're gonna put it like that. It's a huge game. I'm 100 hours in. I have about 70 shrines, between 60 and 80 Koroks, I think. I think about 30 to 40 of the roots. A bunch of stuff, just enough that you will be seeing things in this video. If you're like me and you're kinda like iffy about spoilers, like I said, there's not gonna be any story related stuff, there's no endgame stuff. But be aware, you might be seeing some stuff in this video like locations and characters and maybe items that you haven't seen yet in the game. I'm only halfway through, but this is one big adventure and everybody plays it differently. So just wanted to get that warning out of the way. I'm gonna just give my full thoughts as of now about this absolute piece of art. I'm a huge Zelda fan. The Legend of Zelda is my favorite franchise of all time. It is that good. I love these games. There is no bad Zelda game to me. Even the worst Zelda game is still one of the greatest games of all time. The original Zelda on the NES is the first video game I ever finished in my life. Even before the original Super Mario Bros. I'm 39 years old now. I grew up with these games and I love them to death. I love them so much. And Breath of the Wild was absolutely amazing. It was an amazing game. I love the story. I love the world they created. And Tears of the Kingdom just outdoes it all. When they announced that Tears of the Kingdom was going to be a sequel to Breath of the Wild, I had 5 things that I requested that I was wishing for that this sequel would have. And a bunch of those were already complaints from me before I even knew a sequel was gonna happen. I just want to talk about these 5 things, my favorite things about Tears of the Kingdom, my experiences, things I've seen, and just about everything. So 5 things that I wanted from Breath of the Wild were dungeons. Themed dungeons. To me that means a dungeon that is steeped in the lore of the region. For example, the Fire Temple in Tears of the Kingdom. There's lore built around it. It is integrated in the world. It exists there. The Gorons have a specific folklore. This works towards that. It is an imposing monument, and the dungeon reflects that world. The dungeon affects the world. There's a boss in the dungeon, a uniquely themed boss that affects the world around it. And the dungeon has its own soundtrack, which I feel in the Fire Temple at least, the soundtrack kept evolving based on how further you progressed in it. I don't remember if the Wind Temple did that, but I'm going to keep my ears open for that in the upcoming temples. But yeah, so that was the main thing, dungeons. Another thing that I wanted in sequel, and I've said this before, I felt the exploration in Breath of the Wild was way too limited. It's a flat land. For a game that was about exploration, there wasn't enough to explore. I wanted underwater exploration. Number 2, I wanted caves to explore. And people laughed at me for that stuff. But who's laughing now? There is no underwater exploration. It is the only thing of my top 5 I did not get. There's no underwater exploration, but I am not missing the underwater exploration simply because of the way traversal has been done, specifically towards water in this game, Tears of the Kingdom. I feel the building mechanic is there so that you take advantage of it. And there are actually caves that have water in it. You need to build things or swim, build up your stamina. There's ways to go around it. I feel you don't need underwater exploration. But there's a bigger reason why you don't need that. And that's for everything else they added to this game to explore. Between Hyrule, the caves, the sky, and the depths, there is so much to explore. I never feel like, oh, I wish there were different methods of exploring this world because they just outdid themselves. The caves? Well, I got the caves alright. Not only did I get actual caves that I wanted, I wanted to go into a cave, explore. Maybe there's a boss lair here. Maybe there's some items to find. These underwater areas you're walking around with, like these underground rivers and everything. It is just so good. I love it. There's like quests that you can find when it comes to clothing and different items. There's always a reason to explore caves, and they never feel the same to me. There's caves that, like I said, they have enemy layers. There's caves that have like broken down temples and the specific elements or a big boss or anything. There's so many different, such variety in the caves. It's unbelievable. So yeah, dungeons, underwater, caves. Didn't get the underwater. And there's two other things that I wanted really badly in the Zelda. It's something that I like having in my Zelda games. Number 4 is pose. Now, the enemy, a Poe, is a ghost. More often than not, they carry lanterns. In A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, they've always just carried lanterns. And Twilight Princess, they made them really freaky. And I just love pose. And Breath of the Wild didn't have them, and it kind of bumped me out. Now, this game doesn't have traditional pose, at least none that I've seen yet. But they have pose, and there's lore built around them. And I like that idea. And there's another thing that I really wanted that I found was strange that Breath of the Wild was lacking considering the world it was, and that's cemeteries. And I'm not going to say too much about this, but I have found a cemetery in the game called Cemetery. So they are in the game. And I found other structures like bone houses and stuff. It's absolutely insane. Everything is in this game that I wanted there to be when it comes to the variety of exploration. And that alone just makes it such a good game. Some of the main things I like about the world itself is that the world just feels alive. You have characters of different races that you can find anywhere just interacting. I've met a few times these travelers like the Hylian and the Goron. And they're like traveling. I'm Dutch. I say Hylian. I know. I think it's Hylian. Like Hylia. I don't say Hylian. I said Hylians my entire life. So deal with it. But you have Gorons and Hylians, and they're like traveling together as friends. You find the Gerudos. You find them under like trees, just walking, talking with you. You know, they have a lot of quests. You have all these races of different ages, and that alone makes the world just feel more alive. But on top of that, the whole topography of the world just doesn't feel the same anymore. Everything has changed so much. I never feel like I'm playing the old game again. Between the sky crashing down and the ground tearing open, there's just so much more variety in the landscape. And they change everything. And you go to a village. Massive things happen in this village. And these quests ensue. And I feel that almost every character has a quest. There's always something to do. Everybody wants something. There's small quests, there's big quests. This game even divides the quests. You have the main quests, you have side adventures and side quests. There's like 3 categories. The side adventures are like massive stories. And that's what I like. There's so many massive stories, from rebuilding towns to protecting towns. You're going out with this like garrison of soldiers to like fight some enemies. You're helping these people remember trips they used to take when they were younger. There's a big variety. There's like racing elements now because of the building you can do. The Koroks are back, and I like it that the Koroks are back. So sometimes you build a vehicle to like transport a Korok and stuff. The world just never stops moving around you. Things change, whether it's daytime, nighttime, whether it's the morning, whether it's raining. On top of that, affects everything. Characters are affected by the world around them, and things change. And when you complete quests, characters move around and different quests open up. When you beat a temple, for example, things change. Everything is constantly evolving. The world never stops. And that's why you just want to keep exploring, and why you keep going back to old places. And all of a sudden you're finding a character who has like a quest that you missed before. It just never stops. And that's what I love about this game. It never stops. It is just massive. There's characters from the old games that are coming back. There's new characters. People remember Link as a hero, and I absolutely love it that they did that. So just want to mention 5 absolutely random things that I love about this game. Number 1, Kilton. Kilton was a character who appeared in Breath of the Wild. He had a little monster balloon that looked weird when you saw it at night. He had like the lights, the purple and the orange and the blue lights. He had a little monster balloon, and he sold you monster concoctions, and you could get like monster outfits to blend in with the monsters. And I love this character. I like his design, just everything around him with the colorful balloon. And in this game, he has a brother, I think. I forgot if it's a brother or a friend, or if they even mention it. But there's 2 of them now, and the brother takes over the balloon, so you have a new quest with that. This dude is just batshit crazy. He wants to become a mythical being, and he thought of this crazy way of doing that, and you're helping him. While you're helping him, you're like, dude, I don't think this is going to do what you wanted to do. I love it. And there's so many crazy quests like that. And Kilton himself, there's just so much character development for him. He has like this whole idea. He's just in love with monsters, and the things he did in Breath of the Wild, he's using now. He's using that to funding his next step of the plan. I don't want to say what it is, but you work with that, and it's amazing. And I feel for every player, this is even going to look different. And I can't wait to see what other people are doing with this quest. But yeah, so Kilton is one of the things I love. Another thing I love is also a character. It's Ganon. Ganondorf.
それが大魔の剣。我が正気で砕ける刃では役に立たぬ。
This is by far my favorite iteration of Ganon ever. He is maniacal, he is insane, and he is pure evil. He wants power, which is what he always represented. He's going to war for it. He wants to fight people for it. He is obsessed when he learns about Link. He wants to fight Link. When the game starts, he remembers Link, even though he's a decaying corpse. There's all this story evolving around that. And I just love this man. He is so intense. And I love his design. You see him in the cutscenes that you collect throughout the game as this normal Ganondorf, the male born every 1,000 years in the Gerudo. It's a story they're reusing from Ocarina of Time. They're mixing his story with Breath of the Wild, and it's just perfect. And then you have like his Demon King form, which is just terrifying. I absolutely love him. I love the way he talks, the way he acts, his expressions and everything, his lust for combat. He is just perfect, absolutely perfect from his design to his character. Amazing. Another thing that I really like, I've mentioned it before, is the depths. I muted Nintendo everywhere. I saw the first 2 trailers. You didn't really know about the depths. So the first time I dove into the depths and you hear this music, this and you go into the depths, it's dark, it's floaty, glowy stuff, it's caves plus. I wanted caves and Nintendo gave me perfect darkness. So on top of all the caves to explore, you have like the sky to explore. And you have the depths, and the depths is just pure darkness. And there's ways you can light things up to look around. There's routes that you light up to light up the area. There's things to discover even there. There's like mines to explore, like broken down temples. There's all these things to find, even underground. You just don't stop exploring the underground. There's all these like items and outfits and things, and the underground is literally just as big as Hyrule itself. It's absolutely insane how massive this game is, and just the overall atmosphere when you're running around like a skeleton horse over the decaying floors, the death and despair around you, with the atmospheric lighting of the fireflies flying around and the pose in the background with the light of the lava sometimes and the I forgot the name of it. The corruption. It's just chasm stuff. It's amazing. I love it. The depths are without a doubt one of the greatest things. I love it. Another thing I absolutely love, the abilities. The ascent ability makes travel so good, and I love it how the temples had to be designed around this ability so that you can't just abuse it all the time. It gets you out of a jam when you really don't know where to go. A lot of the puzzles use it. They keep using the ascent ability. Same with the fuse for the weapons and the arrows. I like sifting through the options with the arrows. I keep switching between like wings to make the arrows go further, or eyeballs to make them like heat-seeking. There's elemental stuff. There's so much you can do with the arrows. Same with the building ability. Just building vehicles is insane. The online people are building the craziest things. I've built like death machines and smallest vehicles like cycles and cars and all this stuff and boats. And I can't wait to explore this more because they have stabilizers and radio controlled cars, and it's not just wheels and planks. The elements they give you to build stuff that you will unlock throughout the game are insane, and the possibilities are not even just endless. Like, there's things you can do programmed in the game the way Breath of the Wild did, where people are still finding new things today. And I promise you, when it comes to the building stuff, people will still find things tomorrow. And a random fifth thing, I'm sorry, but I just like it and I want to point it out. Link's godlike hair. I love it that this dude has his long hair and it's loose and it's flying around. You can make him dress all like goth and dark and he's just walking around and I just love it. It's so simple, it's so dumb, but I'm not gonna lie, I love it. I don't put anything on his hat most of the time because I like seeing the long hair. He just looks so badass. Without a doubt, Tears of the Kingdom is giving us the greatest Ganon, the greatest Zelda, and the greatest Link. And I love just all of that about this game. All in all, there's so much I'm still holding back. There's so much I want to say. There's so much I wanted to show in this video, but it's still early. People are still discovering everything. I haven't even been to the Hebra Mountains, haven't even touched foot in the Gerudo Desert. I haven't been to the Zora stuff yet. You know, I've been kind of like in this area of the map and stuff. I've done the Goron stuff, Hyrule, and the area of Lurelin Village, for example. There's so much. There's like little nods to all the Zelda games between the outfits you can find. The tunes that Link hums while he cooks. From every single game, from Ocarina of Time to A Link to the Past to Link's Awakening. He just hums all these tunes and there's all these nods to all these games everywhere. And I just love it. I've seen things, I've seen cutscenes that I would love to share that are not even endgame yet, but I know some people have not seen it yet. I've done things out of order. There is no order. You can do it however you want. The freedom they gave you in Breath of the Wild has been exponentially increased between the amazing sky, Hyrule itself is being changed, the cave system integrated, the depths, and then blending that with the fuse ability, the combining ability to create vehicles and stuff. It never ends. It is absolutely amazing. I can't get enough of this game. It's without a doubt one of the greatest games ever made, and I feel it's become such an insane piece of work that it just overshadows Breath of the Wild. Insane. I feel there's just no use going back to Breath of the Wild. I slightly prefer the old shrine design of Breath of the Wild, and the music especially inside of them. They're one of my favorite things in gaming ever. These shrines just feel different. I still love them, but they're slightly different. And maybe you have the story with the champions in the first one, his comrades. But I mean, does any of that really matter when you look at what the story is doing in this one? And I'm barely halfway through it. It's crazy. This cutscene, the music, the soundtrack, everything from the soundtrack to the temples, to the songs in the sky. I love this game. To the reused soundtracks that you often have from older games, like Ocarina of Time, and in the caves, you often find the theme that's a rework of the original dungeon theme of the original NES game. There's so much, it never ends. Let me know what you thought of this game. I love it. I can't get enough. It is just absolutely perfect. It's brilliant. It's gorgeous. It's art. Follow all my links in the video description, social media, Twitter, Instagram, everything. Subscribe to this channel for more content, Zelda content, gaming content, reviews, reactions. You'll find everything here. Thank you all for watching, and stay real.